Hello everyone and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am the OutbackAl.
I'm hot for justice.
I'm Yin&Jung.
I'm NV Jitters.
I'm CheerandCosplay. And I'm Kozi.
And we're back to watching more anime. I'm still thinking that we're in the middle of live action stuff every now and then because we were doing it for so long, but we're moving on to some new things, old things, really old things at this point.
Do you have some PTSD?
From live action stuff? No.
Yeah.
I enjoyed most of it.
Okay.
It's like some of the more recent ones that we watched were a little
Is it PTSD from your death?
From my death. Dude, that was weeks ago.
Yeah.
That was weeks ago, you're over it.
Catch up, you know? It's like, we gotta move on to new traumas. But I don't think there's a whole lot of trauma going on this week. I actually think the thing was pretty good because it was one of my recommendations. So if you didn't hear last time, we're doing what we think are like underrated recommendations. And underrated can mean a lot of things, but to me it was mostly just like, I didn't really ever see anyone talking about some shows, and I was like, why don't people talk about these shows? These shows are pretty good. And I think we each are going to have a pick coming up. This week was mine, so we watched Samurai Flamenco. I was almost going to say Samurai Champloo, but I'm like, that's not underrated.
Made by the same studio, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Didn't that studio go under right after Samurai Flamenco?
If it did, though, I'm
Shortly
sad.
after.
I hope that it's
Yeah.
not a result of Samurai Flamenco.
I think it
No,
didn't do
apparently
very well.
somebody scammed them out of $325 million.
Oh god.
My
Wow.
God, $325 million. Or yen.
It was, I think it. I might have. You know, it might have been yen, but still.
Oh, I would hope it's
325
yen,
million
because that's like a fucking Marvel movie right there. That they had that much money to just spare.
Yeah, I don't know what that translates to in American dollars.
I think it's somewhere like 3 to 5 million. Like that
Okay,
sounds more
but-
reasonable for an animation studio making like anime series.
Yeah, you're right. That sounds right.
How do you scan a company like that, though?
Probably
I mean-
like an investment thing, like, hey, invest in this and we'll invest in your, or like, I don't know. You could probably look it up on Wikipedia.
I mean, the former leader of Ufotable was caught for tax evasion, so anything's possible.
I mean, that's kind of a
Nice.
separate thing, but yeah. So, financial troubles of studios aside, Samurai Flamenco. This was my recommendation, and it's a superhero show about people who really like superhero shows, so much so that they want to become superheroes. At least one guy wants to become a superhero, and he gets a. Honestly, he's kind of a, what's the guy from Don Quixote? Sancho Panza?
Yeah, he's that
Yeah, a
type.
little bit of that, like the kind of straight man, sarcastic sidekick who kind of points out your ridiculousness, even though pointing out the ridiculousness will not stop him from being ridiculous. Yeah, so this, what did you guys think?
I described this to Cece as like really wacky anime Power Rangers.
A little bit. More than you'd realize.
Yeah, we didn't even get to the good parts.
Okay, so you did see this. I was wondering.
Yes.
Yeah, we watched the first 3 episodes.
Okay, but
No,
Cozy,
I've
you've
seen
seen
it
the whole show?
previously. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. What about the rest of Yin's guys?
I didn't mind it. I also have heard that, like, I think around episode 7, the series changes, like, almost entirely, like, the premise of the
Complete
show.
180.
But as far as these 3 episodes, I mean, I didn't think it was too bad. I mean, it's a guy living in his own delusions, and, you know, he's slowly becoming, I guess, somewhat of a real-life superhero, but not really.
Yeah.
A public
Um,
nuisance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen this before, but it was such a long time ago that like I barely remembered anything that happened in it. But like I do remember like little bits and pieces like watching it like again, being like, "Oh yeah, that thing happened." But I really like it. It's really fun.
So you definitely did not see the whole show, because if you did, I feel like you
No.
absolutely would be remembering what happened.
No, I didn't see the whole show, but I definitely saw like more than 3 episodes before.
Okay. Yeah, that thing you mentioned about, like, I think it's like episode 7 or 8, that seems to be like one thing that a lot of people do say, and I think a lot of people do drop after that, because it kind of does become a different show, and yet at the same time, it feels like it's still, at least to me, is still kind of
No,
it's the same show.
Yeah,
don't know.
I would agree with you. I feel like the vibe is still majorly the same, even though the
Yes.
stakes are different.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm really gonna struggle with this because it's like, I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't seen this because spoilers will ruin this show.
100%, but also it's been out for like a decade.
True,
I mean,
and yet
if it makes you feel any better, I read the Wikipedia synopsis for episode 7.
No!
don't you
So do
fucked up.
aliens just come to Earth or something?
No, we're not telling you.
Yeah, I'm completely in the dark still.
All right.
Stay in the dark.
CC is planning to watch it the rest of the way through, so...
Look, all I can say is this plot gets very twisty, very turny, and you guys know me whenever I'm watching something, you guys have watched stuff with me, and you know how I can, like, predict a lot of, like, story stuff that tends to happen in a lot of movies and TV.
There is no predicting where this goes.
I love it. Like, it's...
And then...
Yeah.
As soon as you... go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like we're both saying the same thing. It's like, as soon as you... Like, the moment you think you know what's going on and you think, like, oh, I can tell where this plot's going, it does a 180 or a 360 or a something that just, like, takes you down a whole different path. You're like, I did not see this coming.
Yeah,
and then it does it every, like, 5 episodes.
If you hadn't told me about that, like that there's gonna be twists and stuff, I definitely would have thought, judging by these first 3 episodes, that it was gonna be like almost like a slice of life anime, except he thinks like he's some kind of superhero. Which I kind of like the 3 episodes the way they are. I thought it was fun, and like I thought it was a nice little premise, and I like the characters and everything. So like I had fun with it. I watched the rest, but yeah, I would think that it would have just stayed that way. So I guess I'm more intrigued now that apparently it goes off the rails in a good way, I guess. I don't know. But some people say it went off the rails in a bad way, so I don't even know.
I think that those people are wrong.
Those people are wrong? Okay.
This-
I'm interested to see where it goes.
It just kept going off the rail.
It... Like, again,
But,
it's not a predictable show. But...
No.
Look, I've had plenty of times where I couldn't predict where an anime was going, and it went somewhere that I didn't expect, but it was usually for bad reasons, like, oh, this is just dumb. This is a really dumb way to take this. Why are you doing that? Every time they took another twist, I'm like, oh my god, the plot thickens. And, like...
I literally, you think it cannot throw another plot twist at you, and then you get to like the very end, and it's like one more kick on the way out.
Oh my god, that fucking ending.
Yeah.
I want so bad. You know what? I'll. Are you seriously thinking about watching this whole thing?
I'll probably continue it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you do, I don't know if anyone else is looking to finish this series, but when you finish it, Kozi, do you want to join us to like do a whole thing on it?
Sure.
Full spoilers.
Well, we can talk about the whole thing when we're done.
I would love to do a spoiler talk on this.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the things when you brought this up, and I knew we were only doing the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm like, it really doesn't give you any actual grasp on what the series is gonna be.
No, not at all.
I mean, it does and it doesn't. Like you said, the tone of it stays, for the most part, the same. The vibe, the characters, like...
So it still feels slice of lifey later on?
Not 100% of the time.
As I feel like what you're describing does not.
No, he still feels like a very delusional fanboy, though. Like,
yeah,
being
even though
super
like
cringe,
weird stuff is happening.
Yeah, even
so he's not delusional anymore. I assume.
I mean, he is.
It kinda.
even though the world and the plot get crazy around him, he stays the same like likable character. I think the characters stay who they are and are likable.
Okay.
In that. I mean, they change. I mean, every plot has like every character has arcs and stuff, and you know, you change over time and whatnot. But like they stay consistently like, I like this person. I want to see what happens to them next, kind of thing, and I enjoy that. But with all of them, we haven't even been fully introduced to everyone in the cast yet. Like, there's well, I mean.
I'm very sad we didn't do one more episode.
Oh, right, because the Idol's next, I think, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so technically we met the full extended cast, just not in their big debut moments yet.
Yeah.
what can I talk about that's not spoilers?
Well, I guess we can go over the plot of the 3 episodes we did watch.
Yes. So first and foremost, a guy on his night off finds a naked model in an alleyway who tells him he's a superhero. Like, that's a hell of a way to kick off your show.
And then he almost lights him on fire.
Yes. You know, as you do.
Just an average night.
Just an
you
average.
know?
That's one dude.
You know what? The guy's a cop. Honestly, that could be an average night for him. We don't know.
Yeah.
Could really say that the sparks were flying.
Ah, I see what you did there. I don't want to say anything. Oh, I can't spoil it. I can't spoil what happens with them.
What?
Look, more stuff.
Yeah, what?
Things happen.
This
Things happen.
is not a super spoiler, but more stuff happens between them when they're naked. It was just.
I feel confused.
That fucking ending. Ah. I want to talk about it. Okay.
I want to talk about the girlfriend.
Okay. Yeah.
We can't.
Is it
Yeah, we
just
can't.
a long distance?
It's a long distance thing.
It's a thing.
You do get to see her by the end.
Oh.
So, but like, yeah, the majority of the show, it's just him on the phone.
Is she a normal person, or
yeah,
is
but
it a mystery?
She's not
No,
like
she's a normal person.
Okay,
she's not a
like
supervillain or something.
a superhero or monster or something.
No. But she is.
I don't know what to expect.
She's yeah. It's I can't say anything.
So has he met her? Is my question.
Should I just drop out and you can go full spoilers?
No.
No.
Then I'd have to drop out too.
Everyone would have to drop out, and quite frankly, anyone listening to this who hasn't seen it is going to have to drop out. And I don't want that. I want to do the whole thing, and then we'll do a spoiler talk later. Like, I don't think this is going to be long.
There's a lot of little stuff that you don't realize right now is important to the series that they're throwing at you.
And that's part of what makes it good, because you look back on things and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that.
Okay.
What'd you guys think of the characters? That's something we can go, like, you guys talk. Don't let me talk.
You know too much.
I know too much. That's why I want you guys to talk.
I mean, I think for me, I already forgot the character's name, so I apologize. But
the cop's name is Goto, and
Masayoshi.
Yeah, I always have trouble with that one.
Well, the cop I didn't mind. The model, he kind of went back and forth on me whether or not I liked him or he got annoying for me.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the red axe guy. Yeah.
He's fun.
Yeah, I thought he was kind of cool.
He's got a bit of a like real world All Might vibe. Kind of like if My Hero Academia was not like a world of superheroes and it was just a superhero show, he would be the guy who plays All Might in the TV show.
He reminds me a lot of like how Cowboy Andy was to Spike Spiegel.
You know what? You're right. Except Spike wasn't as delusional as Cowboy Andy.
He's like if All Might was in the Village People.
I don't entirely get that one, but okay.
The Village People?
Yeah, no, I know who the Village People are. I just All Might the Village. I don't know how that connects, but all right.
All right, then. Okay, if All Might was in the Village People, which one would he be?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh, I think he'd be his own thing.
Honestly, you're probably right. He will be added to the Village People.
Yeah.
He's just All Might.
Well, he's not going to fit in a number of those positions. Is he going to be a sailor? I don't think so. Is he going to be a biker? Probably not.
I mean, he could be the cop.
Construction worker?
Well, I guess that's true.
Construction worker?
No. Helmet. He's going to cover up his hair. That's not going to work.
Is there a cowboy in that?
Yeah, but again, what? Cowboy could work. He's got a very American vibe, and the Western is the only purely American genre.
Yeah. A cowboy might work.
Okay. Put him in some assless chaps. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Village People. Anyway, so our village people for what did the rest of you guys think of these village people, our cop and Samurai Flamenco?
I liked them. I liked the dynamics between the characters. I thought that Samurai Flamenco himself was pretty fun. I didn't feel annoyed with him myself. I thought he was, like a childish character, but in a, in an endearing way. Like, I felt endeared towards him.
He said he was like 19, I think.
Yeah, he's about 19, so he's pretty young. I get it. I'd like to see, I don't know if they'll go into his past or something, or if he's just like that, or if he, like, was clinging on to these things for some reason, or if I'm reading too much into it. I don't know.
I can tell you...
Was he a lonely kid or something? I'm not sure.
I can tell you this much, and this is more just a thing for the show itself. It very much revels in the tropes of superhero things.
Okay.
Superhero origins are a big thing.
Oh, so he'll have an origin. Okay,
I will not tell
curious about
what,
that.
But yes.
Okay. Yeah, I want to learn more about him. I think he's interesting for the most part. He's a character I want to follow. And I think Goto, I don't know, he's likable. I don't feel like I know that much about him or what he wants or anything, but I like him. And once again, I think the dynamic between the two, like I don't know, whatever they got going on is pretty fun to watch.
I think it's like the Laurel and Hardy or the Abbott and Costello kind of thing of like the goofball and the straight man.
Or it is kind of like Don Quixote or something,
Say that again?
Don Quixote?
Don Quixote?
Don Quixote. I don't know, like...
I never heard it pronounced Quixote.
Quixote. I don't know.
I might say that from now on.
However you pronounce it.
Quixote.
It's that sort of thing, where, you have the guy who's kind of delusional and the other guy who's along for the ride, but is the straight man.
Yeah.
So, I like that. I thought the characters were enjoyable.
Kozi described the dynamic as brat and brat tamer? Brat and daddy? Something like that.
I can see that. That's kind of, yeah. There's like 101 different names for this dynamic. It's a very old and very like Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
Same thing. Trying to think of a modern equivalent. People don't really do comedic duos anymore. That's the problem. Yeah, I think the closest thing I could maybe find is John Mulaney and Nick Kroll whenever they did Oh Hello. But that reference might be very lost on you guys.
I know you shared it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've watched all of John Mulaney's solo stuff.
Yeah, I think he's fun with Nick Kroll.
I like the characters. I think that Masayoshi or Samurai Flamenco is very fun. Like he's pretty childish, but like it's like got that like charm to it still. Mm-hmm. And then Goto, the police dude. He's I think he like works well with Samurai Flamenco's character, like for sure. I feel like if it were just a show about him, like he'd be boring, but because like he's the straight man to like, Samurai Flamenco, that it like works really well. So yeah.
Yeah. I personally always liked Goto when I was watching this. Part of it is because, years ago I watched like Haruhi Suzumiya, and the main character, like one of the main characters, Kyon, he's just like the straight man to everything. Just like, well, this is dumb. This is why are we doing this? Or like, okay, now things are getting ridiculous. This is on brand for you. And this just feels like the adult version of him. And I'm down for that. I find them fun. And I think Samurai Flamenco is a perfect like foil to that. Or I guess Goto's the foil to Samurai Flamenco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Goto is supposed to be the relatable one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like the one you can kind of like see yourself in.
Yeah, the 9-to-5 guy who's like, oh my god, why did my life just get ridiculous?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I found the opposite to be true.
Yeah?
I'm like, oh, this poor child is hyperfixating. What a mood. I can taste the secondhand cringe.
Oh, I will say, that is one thing. I forgot how cringy this anime was.
I hear ya. again, not to spoil, I don't think that it's as cringy later after stakes get up a little bit.
But like these first handful of episodes, they're there are definitely some facepalm moments.
It's like one of those, and like like you guys keep saying, he's very childish. So like, of course, his first thing as a superhero is gonna be like, don't litter.
Yeah, don't jaywalk.
His first thing wasn't don't litter; it was don't jaywalk, and he got decked for it.
Yeah. Return that umbrella that you stole.
That was great, though.
Don't put your trash out too early, damn it.
He kind of reminds me of Moomin Writer from One Punch Man.
No,
like a little lamer.
No. Moomin Writer is God tier. You take that back.
Hey, you don't know what happens in the rest of this show, buddy.
No,
you don't know.
I will say Moomin Writer is above him.
Okay, fine. Moomin Writer is definitely above him, but less far above him than you would think from this initial couple episodes.
More than you'd think.
Less than you'd think.
It's really like Kamen Rider without the like magic, like
the super suit.
It. Yeah. Just like the silly antics are like it, and they even mentioned Kamen Rider at like the very beginning of like the show.
Yeah, it was like that was like the second line of the thing. was like, do you think Kamen Rider wears a helmet? Is he legally allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Which I would like to point out, there's no way that you make a super suit or have a magic super suit with a helmet kind of thing that doesn't protect your head. Like that has to be a helmet. And he is riding around legally. Otherwise, it's ridiculous. And why would a superhero show be ridiculous?
I don't know.
Goto's sitting there like, is he street legal, though?
I'm gonna be honest, that's kind of what I like about this guy. He's just, like, a guy doing his job, and, like, it's a slow day. And sometimes you just like, hey, you ever think about this? It's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, but like, what else are we going to talk about today?
I like him. He's a cutie, but unfortunately, like, a cab, so.
He kind of reminds me of, well, I guess it would be the other way around, actually, Nozaki.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. But, like, it's like he's aware and the other people aren't?
Yeah.
Okay. So, then who does that make Samurai Flamenco? Is that Chio, or is that his one friend who models for him?
Oh.
Because he seems more like the redheaded one. Mikurin, yeah.
He's got more of that personality, for sure.
Not as confident. No, well, neither is Mikurin. Never mind.
No, he's not
confident.
He
might be the drama actor.
Oh, God, the name.
The girl.
I forget.
Kashima.
I don't.
Kashima. Yeah, that's it.
I love her. She's my favorite.
Maybe. Well, then that would make Goto Kashima's senpai. That makes more sense.
The theater manager.
Yeah, that's the dynamic.
Less violent, though.
Less violent.
For now.
It may get more violent.
We don't know. The future holds many twists and turns.
The violence is sent over to the manager.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, so that's that relationship, I guess. All right, we're back to Nozaki.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
I mean, I guess it checks out that he's a model then.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what... fuck, I still don't know what to talk about. Is there any questions you guys have or, like, thoughts you had about this else? Otherwise, I got nowhere to go. Are
there aliens?
Like, I mean, on TV,
we
sure.
cannot discuss this.
He's just watched aliens on his TV shows.
All right. I guess, Al, I can, pivot this discussion. We started this whole series by stating underrated. So why do you think one, why do you think the show is underrated? Or at the very least, why did you like it when a lot of people didn't? And two, do you think it deserved more attention than it got?
I'm actually going to cut in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to say it was not underrated. Samurai Flamenco was extremely popular when it came out in like the early 2010s.
But for how long? And I think maybe this is just a result of the fact that, like, as the 2010s started happening, you started to see more of the seasonal anime, and, like, things showed up, were hot for about 10 seconds, and then were thrown away as soon as the next season came along. It might be that Samurai Flamenco is a victim of that, as maybe a number of these other shows are.
I don't think that makes it underrated, though. I think that just means that new people who are starting to watch anime just aren't watching old stuff, which...
And that's fair.
Yeah.
But at the same time, doesn't that kind of make it underrated if it's a really good show and no one watches it anymore? I mean, like, I feel like there are a number of old shows that people will still go back and look at for one reason or another. I will still go back and watch Cowboy Bebop. I know there's plenty of people who would go back and look at that.
Those have to be, like, cult classics.
I understand that a little bit, but, like, I don't know that Cowboy Bebop's a cult classic.
I don't know that they have to be cult classics.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows, like, you know, the animes that are either overrated or, like, just everybody knows them because they were really popular.
Yeah, Dragon
like,
Ball Z, Naruto,
everybody goes
Evangelion.
back and watches Full Metal Alchemist or
Right.
Soul Eater or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
so I would say if it's an anime that kind of faded into obscurity, I would still consider it kind of underrated.
Especially if you think that it's a really good show. I think this is a really good show, especially for the superhero genre.
It might have started out, like, kind of popular. I definitely had heard of Samurai Flamenco, but I never hear of anybody talking about it anymore.
I had never heard of it whenever
Oh, you hadn't heard of it before? I heard of it when it came out.
I probably watched this, like, it was on Netflix at some point when I was in college, and I'd never heard of it. It was just under the superhero thing. I'm like, oh, I like superhero stuff. I'll give this a watch. I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Then episode 7 or 8 showed up. I'm like, okay, I'm hooked. And
well, I don't know. I feel like I agree with Kozi that it was popular when it first came out. I feel like people were talking about it, but I don't think they talk about it anymore.
Yeah, and that's kind of, to me, what says it might be maybe a little underrated, because I feel like there are some shows even nowadays that pop up and have that initial popularity, but might still last longer. Maybe that's a result of they have more seasons that come down the line, or maybe that's a result of it just struck people more and resonated and stuck with them a little longer. I don't know. But for whatever reason, this thing came, had its moment, and then died very quickly. And I don't know that it should have died very quickly. I think this show, without going into spoilers, I think it has a lot of the merits of, like we were mentioning, One Punch Man or Tiger and Bunny or something like that, where it's kind of taking the superhero genre, taking the piss out of it a little bit, and having fun with it. And I will grant you, One Punch Man is better. Definitely. I'm not going to, like, compare them like, oh, these are equal.
What about the second season in comparison?
Okay, maybe. I think this is better than the second season of One Punch Man. I can say that.
Okay.
Because that one's just, okay. Because I actually think this one, as it keeps going, gets better as it keeps going. Tiger and Bunny, I think it's comparable to. But I don't see them in the same conversation.
Did Samurai Flamenco, was it an adaptation or an original?
I think this is an original. I don't think it had, like, a manga, which might be part of the reason that people don't discover it as much.
When I looked it up, there was a manga, but it might have come out after.
They sometimes... There was a Cowboy Bebop manga as well
like,
that
maybe
came out
it was a tie-in.
but...
It looked like it was running the same years, so I figure it was just a tie-in.
Yeah.
And also, like, a lot of stuff that was really popular and, you know, stayed relevant had multiple seasons.
Yeah. So...
And there was really nowhere for this to go story-wise.
Absolutely. When you hit episode 22, like, they told everything that they possibly could. But at the same time, I gotta really praise them. They took this concept and wrung every drop that they could out of it in 22 episodes. It's honestly pretty impressive to me.
What I will give you for potentially underrated is there were quite a lot of people who initially did not make it to the twist.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate.
Like, they dropped it, and then once it started circulating and people started talking about how good it got afterwards, that people went back to it.
Again, and maybe this is just because I don't follow as much stuff, and maybe especially back when I first saw this, I wasn't following a whole lot of stuff online for like what was popular or what animes were coming out kind of thing. I was just sort of like, what's on Netflix right now? I had not heard about a twist. I had not heard about anything about this. It literally just showed up, and I was like, I'll give it a watch. I had nothing to do, so I kept going with it.
An uber weeb, so...
I mean, yeah. Okay. But I think maybe the reason it takes so long to get to the twists and turns is because... I feel like I've talked about this before. We talked about this with a little Shonen Showdown. There was always like this... I think there's a difference between like anime before the 2010s and anime post 2010s. Kind of like pre-seasonal anime and post-seasonal anime. You have nowadays everything has to get their premise out in the first 3 episodes and like explode. Otherwise they're dead in the water. And it used to be before that, you know, studios would buy 50 some episodes out the gate.
There wasn't as much competition before.
Yeah, that's part of it. And it's like because of that, you could have like drawn out your story a little more, get to know the characters a little bit more, and really develop it. That way you have more impact when things become bigger in your show. I don't know as many seasonal anime have that anymore. There are some highlights, of course. They're the ones who keep getting seasons. But it's like... I kind of miss the years when you could have a slow burn anime, and this is a little bit of a slow burn as it's getting to its
I also
stuff.
think too that the traditional, you know, long running, it's not just shonen, but like usually with shonen, they would have, you know, hundreds of episodes, like the big 3 back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously One Piece is still going. I don't know when that show will ever end, but like once Black Clover ended in its initial run, you really don't see that too many shows that go beyond one core, or if they do, they're split cores. Like, very rarely do you get animes that just continuously run 30, 50, 40, 50 plus episodes all in a row like that anymore. Probably because it's so much more to animate nowadays, and they, like you said, they just want short attention spans. They want the hot seasonal anime that'll sell quick, and then after that, if they get a second season based on the Blu-ray sales, then and the manga sales, then great. But otherwise, you're kind of just forgotten.
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. I think this one...
Okay, but like 50 episodes was a slog.
Not so much when there wasn't as many things coming out. I mean, you look in like the early 2000s or even before that, yeah, you had plenty of times where they would like be like, all right, we're going to have 50-some episodes, and we're just going to keep releasing them one every week and just keep going. And you just kind of followed the show. I mean,
I think one of the problems with that was, though, that it encouraged more filler.
Maybe some of them,
yes. The manga couldn't keep up, you know?
Well, yeah, if you were doing that, or you know, there's different ways around it. But yeah, sometimes filler would become a thing. So I think
it's nice that we don't run into that problem as much, and it can usually be more faithful to the manga.
That's true. And yet at the same time, if there wasn't filler, we wouldn't have that What's Kakashi's Face episode. And that is without a doubt the best filler episode ever made. As
someone who sees a lot of modern seasonal anime, sometimes they don't follow the manga. Sometimes they rush certain arcs. So you're not even guaranteed that with seasonal anime nowadays.
Yeah. Everything's always going to have problems.
Like, we have the competition for like viewership.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who are actually animating these, by far and large, are like the same probably 10 groups of companies.
Yep.
So like these animators are overworked and completely bogged down with demand.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I sometimes feel guilty whenever I complain about an anime because it's like I know that these are real people that are working their ass off, literally working till like the day before sometimes. And it's just like, I'm sorry your production committee was so full of shit they didn't know how to organize. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be reforms for that industry, but yeah.
It's so bad that they make anime and mangas about how bad it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be a signal for something, but, guess not.
I feel like we're very off track.
I mean, I can't go into spoilers, so I gotta talk about something. I don't know. Yeah, I think...
Overall, how would you describe, like, the kind of core theming around Samurai Flamenco? Because I feel like it does touch on a lot of pretty important, like, morality issues.
It definitely does. It really depends on which arc we're looking at. I'm talking arcs. It's 22 episode series, and yet there are arcs. It's insane. I mean, I think out the gate you can tell what Samurai Flamenco's morality is, and it pretty much stays that throughout it. And he is definitely battling other individuals with other ideologies, especially at the end.
Yeah, fuck jaywalkers.
Well, gets a little bigger than that, but yeah. Again, can't spoil. Can't spoil yet. Looking forward to the day we do a spoiler talk on this.
So, like, one of the things I feel like was, like, really key to even Masayoshi's character is how you have to learn to, like, bend, but also stay true to what you value.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's very, as we could see in the first 3 episodes, he's very strict about what his sense of justice and righteousness is.
Yeah, he's very black and white on a lot of stuff.
And, like, he does have to eventually learn to bend with that, while still holding to his thing of, you know, the rules are in place for a reason, and we can follow them and be good people.
Yeah.
While still seeing the other side of it.
Yeah, and that is important. How do I say this without spoiling anything? He definitely, I think, grows to understand others a lot better, because I don't know that he fully gets people that well in these early episodes. I mean, you know, I feel like that's obvious. Anyone who, like, decides to, in the real world, which is this is essentially supposed to be right now, is going out and being a superhero. Well, they're delusional. There's something's not quite right about them. They have some sort of issue. And I think, yeah, he kind of does. And he works through them in a way. And in a way doesn't, I guess. Like, if Batman worked out his issues, he wouldn't be fun. But neither would Samurai Flamenco. It's like the world you live in. Do you want Batman to be completely sane? No, you don't. He's kind of fucking crazy. But yeah, he definitely does have to grapple with certain things. Again, that ending. Everyone's grappling with stuff at that point. But yeah,
the ending is very, like, polarized.
It's damn, though. Like, they hit you with a lot in a short amount of time. I don't know. Without spoilers, do you like the ending?
I don't know if there's really a way to talk about...
I would just say yes, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why, but yeah, no, I
we can't talk about why.
Enjoy the ending, and I think it worked. I do know there were, like, a lot of people who were like, nah, that was where I drew the line. That was too, like, out of left field, but...
Felt like the logical conclusion when they got there for me. I liked it.
Yeah.
Made sense. Because they...
Did everyone die or something?
No!
Okay.
I'll spoil this. They're alive at the end.
All right.
But they are very changed by the end.
And you're like, some people didn't like it.
Okay, it's...
That
It
usually
is
means
very
someone died.
black and white at the end.
It's a lot. It's a lot at the end. Like,
you're making this sound like the end of Evangelion or something.
He essentially had to find a way to take black and white and make gray.
which end of Evangelion are we talking?
Good question.
Are we talking the trippy one that's kind of interesting to watch? Or are we talking the one where everyone dies in primordial soup? Because, you know, those are two very different endings.
We had to make gray. Okay, so one foot is in the crosswalk and the other is outside.
Sure. If that's how you have to, yeah.
Would that still legally be constituted as jaywalking?
You're not walking.
Yeah.
You're standing. Just partially in the street.
Standing in the cross.
We've all been there.
I meant walking.
How are you walking How are you walking if you have one foot in the crosswalk and the other one on the sidewalk? You have to keep one on the sidewalk to not be
one on the street.
You're Elastigirl.
So hold up.
One on the lines and one outside of the lines.
The lines don't matter. Jaywalking is when you go when the light's green and you're walking basically into a lane that is going for traffic. It doesn't matter about the crosswalk.
The light is green.
Jaywalking is like anything outside of actual ordained crossings as well.
Yeah,
so if you go when it says don't walk, that's jaywalking.
What if you go when it's yellow?
When the hand's blinking?
Yes,
that's
when
fine.
it's counting down.
If you get there, if you get there before it stops blinking, you're good.
Okay.
If you don't, then
it's
Masayoshi will get you.
He'll jump out at you.
Yeah, if you don't, Samurai Flamenco, he'll get you.
So, I feel like for me, Masayoshi having to grapple with, like, the idea of justice not being what his idea of justice necessarily is kind of like the core tenet of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Because
like,
he's very...
Like, even in the next episode, someone else has a very different idea of justice than him.
It's not the next episode. I thought they had an episode or two before that happened.
Well, whenever the girl debuts, we'll call it, she's got a bit of a different idea about how to deal out justice.
I mean, so did Red Axe, yeah.
And so does Goto.
Well, was Red Axe really dealing out justice, or was he just basically being an actor?
I thought he was just an actor.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised he was able to beat anyone up as well as he did.
Well, I mean...
he's a big guy.
He was still doing...
Yeah.
Not justice, but, like, you know, he came forward, he took the prize money, and then he donated it. So it's not like...
Okay, yeah. That is
you
good.
know,
He's
he
a
was
good guy.
Still... Yeah. I mean, he's debatable, but...
Okay, we're not there yet. Don't...
I mean, just based off of what we've seen of him in episode 3, I would still call it debatable.
Okay, yes, he lied about being someone else, but they played it off...
Identity theft is a real problem.
What?
Identity theft is a real issue.
Millions of people are affected every year.
That's
yeah.
That's why CC is such finds Samurai Flamenco so relatable.
No, I play it off as he's also delusional and believe that he was like his mentor or whatever. Like, I needed to become you so that you could learn the truth of your own self. I'm like, you met him yesterday.
Yeah.
Even Goto was like, that's bullshit.
Okay.
Why is no one listening to me?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I relate the hardest with Goto sometimes.
Yeah, I think that was his purpose.
Yeah.
Kind of like in this, like, wash of really zany characters. You have this one guy who's kind of just like your average Joe.
Yep.
Works a 9 to 5. doesn't hate his job, isn't in love with it either. And it's just kind of like, what the hell are you doing?
What did I get myself into when I found that naked man in an alley and set his clothes on fire?
Yep.
You needed to watch the rest of this.
Yes, so.
I'm hoping that if people watch this for whatever reason, I feel like anyone who's watching this right now on YouTube is like, I've already seen this, so I want to know what you're talking about. I want to hear your thoughts on it. I don't know if anyone's watching this because they don't know about this show. But if you are,
watch it.
if you are, and we've convinced you to watch it, please watch it. It is fun. How about that opening? What'd you guys think of that?
I don't remember it anymore.
One of those things I never really picked up on because I normally only watch the opening like once or twice and then I just skip it for the rest.
Yep.
Man.
I never realized in his dream fantasy he was imagining his manager being the damsel in distress.
Yeah, I noticed that the first time.
I didn't notice that.
I saw that. I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny, because she seems kind of evil.
I think that it's like, before Goto, that's the only person he's close to, so of course that would be the person kidnapped.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Goto would be the one in the aircraft afterwards.
Oh my god.
I genuinely am surprised. Like, I'd have to double check, but I'm genuinely surprised they didn't switch it to Goto after they met.
Goto in the dramatic rose cliff scene. Ah!
Ugh. Yep.
There's a reason it's dramatic.
I liked him at the end. The guy who's basically saying, this is the dumbest shit. Why are you doing this? And then he puts on the suit at the end to do the whole, he's in a different place than Samurai Flamenco is. And he's just on the top of the building. Okay, I feel pretty cool right now.
Yeah.
It's always fun. You always gotta love that little, I've never seen Bruce Wayne and Batman in the same room. Oh, well, I'm Bruce Wayne, and I'm Batman, and we're in the same room.
I do... One of those, like, weird suspension of disbelief things for me isn't what comes after the twist. It's the fact that he went viral for the umbrella thing.
Yeah.
People were like, yeah, go!
I think...
Instead of, like...
I don't know. I think part of it is, like, he was already kind of, like, semi-viral from getting his ass kicked by a bunch of middle schoolers. Because, like, it is a little, like, out there. If you saw someone, like, even in America or something, where someone was, like, going out pretending to be a vigilante or something, and then got their ass kicked, I'm like, yeah, you'd be all over the place. Yeah, you'd be all over the place real quick.
There are plenty of people who pretend to be vigilantes.
I get that, but do they do anything interesting?
Do they wear a costume?
They have to,
yes, right? And they get their asses kicked, and they get arrested.
Okay, maybe America is just too used to it at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, I never hear about them.
But,
yeah.
I don't know. It's not the craziest thing to me that he kind of blew up on the internet. But I feel like there's going to be waning popularity pretty soon. Realistically, there will be waning popularity fairly quickly.
I mean,
Tell the
it's
aliens
like
come.
Also, I feel like if it was in today's time, they would be like, ooh, that guy's such a Karen, lecturing him on the umbrella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super Karen.
It's like what you were saying about the, like, going viral. I mean, it's like Spider-Man, kind of like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like, here we have him on tape doing stuff for the citizens, except Samurai Flamenco is
like saving people, though.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that's actually like
Samurai Flamenco's not doing much. Yeah.
Also, Spider-Man superpowers. That's interesting.
Demanding to speak to the manager.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're the same. I was just saying that like I was gonna say like way more lame than Spider-Man, but you know.
I was getting more. I was getting more kick-ass vibes, like a regular guy trying to be a hero, and he gets his ass kicked the first time he tries to fight somebody.
Yeah, I could see that one, definitely. Yeah.
Kick-Ass tried to stop, like, actual crimes.
Oh, yeah, I know. Like, it's almost like a parody of Kick-Ass in a way.
Kick-Ass is already a parody.
Satire. Parody. Yeah, there's blurring lines there.
It's between satire and parody somewhere.
I'd almost say that this show's an homage.
A little bit.
Like, Kick-Ass was trying to stop the crime. Masayoshi is just kind of harassing your everyday normal citizen.
Well, that's because he says that he has to rise up. You start off with the low stuff, then you get to the petty criminals, and then eventually you work your way up to actual villains.
But what he's doing is harassment, which is also a crime.
I know, it's the oxymoron.
True. And if anyone's a moron, it's him.
Yeah.
Real crimes were the heroes we became along the way.
Good times. Okay, so anything else to say about this one? Before we get to spoilers.
Further proof that we should eat the rich, because when you're rich and bored, you put on spandex and go around doing stupid shit.
We've known that since since Detective Comics number 27. Not a big deal. So next week, we should talk next week because we're going to do more of underrated. We have to put underrated in air quotes because what is underrated? That's a very subjective thing. But next week is yours.
Yes.
Correct? Yin?
It's mine.
Yin.
It's Dororo, which is my underrated anime. Once again, like, people did kind of talk about it when it came out, but then I don't feel like they talked about it enough, and it kind of faded away.
Yeah,
I think it had the misfortune of premiering at the same time as Demon Slayer, and it got like overshadowed, unfortunately. But I love the
there
anime.
was a long pause for Dororo.
Nope, it aired all 24 episodes in a row. It just like Yen said, it was just. It got praised by those who watched it, but it got overshadowed by a bunch of other shows.
I would imagine that as it had come out the same time as Demon Slayer, and as Demon Slayer's manga was like more readily popular at the time, they were like, oh, let's watch Demon Slayer. What's this thing? Oh, it's a guy going around killing demons. Oh, it's a ripoff. I'm not going to watch it.
But they're
Which is
so
really
wrong.
Sucks.
They're so
they're
wrong.
Very wrong. I know.
This show is amazing in my opinion, and
How many times have you watched it?
To talk about it. I've watched it like 2 or 3 times now.
You ready to watch it again?
I'm ready to watch it again. I'll watch it a million times.
That's not a fucking endorsement. I don't know what is. Come back next week for Dororo and everything else that we're going to be doing after that. We'll see you then.
Are we doing
Bye-bye.
the yays or nays?
Oh, I'm a yay!
Yay!
You're interrupting my outro. Yay, Samurai Flamenco! Yay!
Yay!
I had a thing prepared. I was gonna be like, I came in here prepared to give it a 0 out of 10 for no dancing of any variety.
You need to watch the rest of the show. You need to watch the rest of the show.
Oh, is there dancing?
There's gonna be dancing.
I hope there's flamenco dancing.
Okay.
Watch the rest of the show.
It, though. I'm excited to watch the rest of it.
It's a yay. Watch the rest of the show. Come back next week for Dororo. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoy this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series, Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!